Hello team. Today we're going to be building the most epic developer portfolio you've ever seen. The whole idea really started off with, I have done this search with what really matters in a software developer portfolio, because you see all this fluff online, people making these fancy animations and stupid landing pages. Why are you building a portfolio in the first place? You are trying to get a job as a developer. You're trying to get employed. So what do they want to see? They want to see like a CV where you have some experience, maybe some projects you did. And lastly, if you're a senior dev and you really think you're just top of the game, then you can demonstrate real world, like you know how to center a div. You know how to ask ChatGPT to put in some JavaScript pop-ups onto the page. So that's what we've done today. Here we go, a VS Code inspired CV portfolio thing with a whole lot of buttons that don't do anything. I've got links to some projects that I've done, none of which are actively hosted, so they can't see anything. And then we print to the console, of course, as well, to show that we're nerds. So it's pretty much covers all the bases. Let's get into how I built it. So firstly, you're going to have to actually make your CV, and I would suggest by not searching software developer portfolios, by making one online and then going straight to this thing called chat.openai.com. Yeah, I just used this image to markdown GPT. I put in my old PDF CV and it gave me the markdown. And then I went to vscode.dev in the browser because I'm planning on serving this page just raw HTML. So it makes sense, easier just to go into the browser, open a new repo. In this case, I initialized one from some really cool dude. Oh, what's his name? Olivia LaRosa, absolute legend. So I just cloned one of his repos for a Next.Js project with all the fluffy animations that I was previously complaining about, but hey, we'll just ignore it. So I got a new repo, I put in this new markdown I got from ChatGPT, edited it slightly, and then on the right, what I wanted to do is have a sort of index pane. So on the right, I just typed up all this, which is a whole lot of random skills and links, but it's just text, it just needs to look the right way. And then I scaled it down so that it minimize this bugger, go away. And then now we have our CV. So all we do, hit F12, VS Code's gonna override F12. Boom, there we go. Elements, go right to the root HTML tag, copy element, bam. Okay, but for real, that's just the start. Now we've copied the HTML, we're gonna get a whole load of, let's go and have a look at what this actually looks like. We are going to get a whole load of crap in here, and a whole lot of styles are going to be loaded in from the top. And you're going to notice that a lot of stuff is not going to load, and it's going to take like a minute because it's trying to load a whole lot of script tags. So number one is remove all these script tags that you're going to find throughout this file that are going to be giving cause issues and trying to. And once you've got it loading, you'll notice that things like, so when I actually previewed this here, I was previewing Markdown, and this Markdown preview, you will notice right away, is if we just use this Shift Command C, choose the element inspector, and we just click anywhere inside here, you'll see that this is all within a big iframe. And so that's not going to be copied in the raw HTML. What I just did is went inside here and just copied all of this div here, markdown body div, and then bam, we got our markdown, paste that in the relevant place in the HTML file, and then we just need to do a few minor things. Let's just go inspect the final site where we want to actually link things. These will just be spans. So you just change those to A tags and put an href in there. Change the link text. There really wasn't too much to it. Oh, I did add this markdown page won't scroll if you just copy everything in. So I did need to add I think I called it markdown dash body just because there was already a class called that. Here we go. And I had to change the overflow to scroll. Overflow Y, I'm not sure I needed to change that. And the flex direction to column, so we actually scroll vertically. And yes, ChatGPT gave me all this. And then add that CSS class to the div that contains all of your markdown thingies. And then on the right, the index page, this also needs to be scrollable because if you're on a mobile page, it might not load everything. So I did the same thing there. For some reason, it doesn't show the scroll bar. I didn't bother researching why on earth that is because it doesn't really matter. It looks nice like this. What else did we do? Changed a bit of the text here. Added some Easter eggs. In fact, if I look at the top of the CSS, also added a media query so that I could demonstrate my exceptionally senior centering div skills that I have. So here we obviously we don't want this to be too wide because then it gets really hard to view. We want it to be like a size of a page. So we want to center the whole VS Code clone in the middle. And then when the page gets smaller, we then become left aligned and scale and in fact you can probably see that changing. Here I call it an inner div class because that's what ChatGPT gave me. And we see the margin left is 0, and then when we hit 1400 pixels, it's going to go bam, margin left and right auto, and it's now centered. So we've demonstrated all the skills that are really necessary. I've linked other projects which are down, so they can't see any of my actual skills. They just have to take my word for it in my CV, which is that's what CVs are. And then if you're not lying in your CV, you're doing something wrong, because I think statistically over 55% of people lie quite blatantly in their CVs. So you should probably do that if you want to stand a chance. Anyway, that's it. That's really it. Only other thing that's cool is deploying. We obviously had to serve this in HTML, and I was using Next.Js. So let's actually go into the repo. Firstly, when you're serving an HTML page from a root in a Next.js project on localhost, then the easiest way to do that is just to go, I think it's in next config. Yeah, we just specify a source and destination. Source meaning this is the route you navigate to, and the destination being what file we serve. And this is from the public directory within Next.js. And so you basically do the same thing when you're deploying to your production, but because I'm deploying on Vercel, you just do those rewrites in the Vercel.json. And then, of course, this HTML file is in the public folder that is initialized when you create a Next.js project. And I've put it in this route in here. And so what that actually means is, in fact, if you see here, I am serving this I'm accessing that publicly accessible file directly, but I don't want to actually give people that URL. So this is what, if I navigate to /dev, then that Vercel.json file is going to kick in and redirect me to, it's going to be giving the same page. The icon that you're using for your Next.js project also won't be accessible or viewable if you just view this file directly. So you do have to specify your fav icon in the HTML file itself. And lastly, none of these icons will load if you just do this, if you just copied all the HTML. So these are actually all from, let's go to I think it's VS Code, VS Codicons. What's it called? At VS Code/Codicons. Just install that package, and then in the HTML file, I just copied the dist folder to the public directory and referenced added a link to codicon.css with a relation of style sheet, and that is it. Now we've got the icons. You'll notice that some of the icons don't load. I could not be bothered to find where those icons are from and why they're not loading. That's it. So funky. So cool. Practical, clean, creative. Brilliant. You're welcome. I'm going to link the repository down below. And of course, make sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel. See you later.